Okay, well here's the Star Trek LE speaker panel, and I've made a template out of cardstock for the LED strips, and it's enclosed on three sides, and that's where the strips will be on the inside, facing the inside of the speaker, and the top is left open so that the light from the flasher here can flash into the speaker. Before, it was down, the speaker was tight down on the grill, and the only way light could get in was from that thin piece of blue plexi that they have between the grill and the panel. So I think this is going to provide a much better access for the light, and it'll aim the light strips both into the edge of the plexi and between the grill and the speaker. So let's go ahead and take this back off, and I'll show you in reverse how it goes. Of course, before the speaker is held in with studs that are welded to the panel, and they're not long enough to do anything with other than the way they had them stock mounted. So get this last screw out. So now we'll have screws that's going to hold the speaker in, and we'll take our little template off here, and as you can see, it's just a simple little template, and like I say, it's made out of cardstock, and the LED strips have adhesive backing on them, so they're going to be adhered to the inside of this. And what I'm going to have to do now is recreate this using this template out of I got a sheet of aluminum, and I'm going to flatten it out on the sheet and draw it out and mark where the bends are, and I'll bend them and drill the holes, and I have to cut out for the speaker here. So that shouldn't be too hard to do. Alright, now we'll take the speaker off here, and as you can see, what I've done is I've added these little 1/2-inch spacers, which are 1/2 inch long, and they are threaded all the way through with 632 threads, which is the thread size of the studs that's on the panel here. So you'll need 4 of those, and by the way, if my measurements are correct, these are the same size spaces that I'm going to need for putting the color DMD in when I get around to doing that. But I thought I would go ahead and do the LED lights in the speakers first, and then I'd get back to the speaker panel. So that's all it is 4 1/2-inch long, in fact they call them coupling nuts. I got the plastic ones, but I have some stainless steel ones on the way, and I think I'm going to use the stainless steel ones since everything on here is stainless steel. The studs, the panel, and I have some 1/4-inch long 6/32 screws to hold the speaker in once I get it ready. This is just a test fit to make sure that the template is right before I make the template out of metal. I mean, make the enclosure out of metal using the template. So now we're just going to go ahead and put it back together stock until the rest of my parts come in. And also, if you do any of these modifications, one word of advice: these studs are welded directly to the panel, and if you over tighten these nuts, it'll actually pull the studs and actually put a bend or dimple the front of the panel, and if you tighten them too tight, it may even break the weld, and the stud will come off, and you don't want to do that. So if you ever take these speakers loose to make a modification, or if you take the DMD out, same thing. Well, the 2 center studs are. The four corner are just bolts that go all the way through the panel, so you don't have to worry about those. But anytime you have a stud that's spot welded to the front side of the panel, and that panel is out where you can see it on the pin or game or whatever you're doing, you want to make sure you don't over tighten it, because it will bend that panel, and if you over tighten it, it will break the weld and it'll come off. So you just want it snugged up enough so that the lock washer, the star lock washer was made into the nut, will keep it from backing off. And that's going to be it until we get our little speaker shroud light panel made, and that'll be the next step. Okay, well, we've gone from a paper template, and now we've cut metal pieces out. Now all we have to do is put our bends on the lines here, and that should about finish it. Alright, well, we made our first bend. Now we got it set up to make our next bend, so we'll go ahead and give it a bend here. Well, so far so good. The edges have lined up pretty good here, so must have made our measurements pretty good here. So now we have one more bend to make. Well, here we have the finished bracket. Turned out pretty good. So all we have to do now is just install the LED strips on the inside here, and we'll be ready to test fit it and see how it fits on the speaker. Alright, we have both of them finished, and they came out pretty good, so they ought to work out just fine. Well, I just finished installing the first LED strip, so the first bracket is done, and now I have to put the LED strip on the second bracket. Well, I'm now ready to install my LED light bracket. Have the LEDs installed here, and I have the 1/2 inch spacers installed on the studs, which is holding the grill down tight. And we'll just put the speaker back in place. And we're going to use these 632 1/4 inch screws to hold it in place. So all we have to do is get it lined up. And hopefully everything's going to line up here. So far so good. And the last one. And we'll snug them down. And that's pretty much it. Now we have our LED strips in. It's sealed around the three sides, the sides and the bottom, and I left it open on top so that it can get light from the flasher here Now all I'm going to have to do is take this wire here that powers the LED strip, and we're going to go ahead and solder it onto the connections here and power it directly off of the flasher, so that it'll, every time the computer controlled either lights this up as a steady light, the LED strips will light up the same way, and anytime it decides it wants to flash it, it'll also flash the LED strips. So hopefully that's going to work out, and we'll go ahead and put the other one on and solder our connections. Alright, well now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put connectors on the wire here so that I can use a connector and unplug the LED strips if I need to. So what I was able to do was to slide the heat shrink off of the original wires going to the flasher socket, and was able to feed it through the heat shrink. So now all I'm going to have to do is just pre-tinned the end of the wire with some solder. Now I'm just going to tack it down and solder it right next to the original wire on the tab here. I'll just put a little extra solder on my tip. And that's all it takes. Now we'll do the negative side. I already checked with a voltmeter, and the center pin of the LED is positive, so the other one is the ground, which goes to the outer edge of the socket. So I already pre-tinned this one. So now all I have to do is just tack it on. Now I ought to be able to slide the original heat shrink right back over it. And now I have the power plug that's going to plug in to this wire here, so we're going to have to now shorten this wire up a little bit, and then I'm going to cut this wire off, and then I have the connectors to go on these wires here to put the other end on, and then we'll be able to hook it up. Alright, well I got the connectors on both ends of the wires here, so now we can just plug them in. And now this side is all done. I'll probably tie this up here with a tie strap. So now we can go ahead and install the wires on the plugs on the other end. Here's the finished product. We've installed our LED light frame, which raised the speaker up a ½ inch off of the speaker grill, and we put connectors in here and tied them in to the power lugs here going to the flasher socket, and we've done the same thing on the other end, so it's all ready to put back in and test out. Okay, I installed the panel in the game, and only one of my LED brackets were working, and I got checking and I found out the one that I checked the voltage on the other side, the positive was the center on the blinker, and the ground was the outer casing here. Well, it turns out that's the case on that side, but on this side, Stern has reversed the wires, and the center post is negative and the outer can is positive. While that doesn't make a big difference because this is isolated, it does mean that because of this, if you shorted out the can here for the light socket against the metal here, you would have a problem, because this is actually positive now instead of ground. Now, whether it's supposed to be that way, or they just made a mistake, or they figured it doesn't really matter since they're just hooking up a light, I don't know. The wires are not color coded. Well, actually they are. They're orange, but one of them has a looks like a real light, maybe red stripe on the orange, and that's the one that's going to ground. So I don't know, but the only thing we can do, we could go ahead and resolder these wires, but I'm going to leave it the way Stern put it. So I'll just pull my pins out of my connector and swap the pins in the connector, and we should be okay. Okay, we now have the polarity of the LED lights fixed. So that's just a word of warning. If you ever have this panel loose and you're messing around with these flashers, be careful, because they could have it reversed on yours and they might not be. But if you were to short this outer light socket to the panel here, because the panel is grounded with this ground strap, you could potentially blow that flasher circuit. So you got to be real careful with that. Maybe in the future I'll go ahead and solder these and reverse it back, but for the time being I'm going to leave it like it is. As you can see, the LED lights are working inside as well as the flasher, and the flasher in this setup is also computer controlled and also illuminates like a regular general illumination light. So I guess it serves two purposes. And the flashes up in the corners are the same thing. They actually come on solid to light up the side emblems. But right now in the code they don't flash. Now whether they're going to make them flash in the code, I don't know. But if we go into the diagnostics, it's listed as number 42 in the flasher, and we can flash them in the diagnostics. So let me put the panel up, and I'll put it in diagnostics, and I'll show you what it looks like when you flash it. Okay, well, here it is. I went ahead and turned the lights off because I had a glare from the overhead light. But here it is. It's in a track mode, and you can see that the speakers are lit up pretty good. So now we're going to go into diagnostics, and we're going to go into the flashers, and we're going to do the flasher test. And we're going to go up to number 42, which is the back box number 1 flasher, and that's the flasher for the speakers. So now we're going to flash them. And as you can see, if you flash them, they're pretty bright. So I think we can say we're done with this mod, the speaker LED mod, in order to keep the computer control of the flasher, instead of having them light up solid, which I was originally going to do, till I found out that it was in the code for the computer control and for them to be on all the time, and they can turn them off and turn them on when they want to in code. Now, the code's not finished yet, so they're probably going to do some stuff, hopefully, with the flasher. And that's why I wanted to make it so that it was more original, but the LEDs were brighter than what it was with the speaker was bolted up tight against the back of the speaker grill. The only way any light could get in was from that one flasher bulb, and it would have to get in through the edge of the blue plexi, which they call it a lens, I believe, in the manual. It's the only way it could get any light. And while you did get some light in there, it's nowhere near as bright as it is with the extra LEDs. And with the speaker mounted a 1/2 inch off of the grill, that gives you that 1/2 inch gap on that top side for more of the flasher, the original flasher bulb to get in the speaker. So that's it for now, until we get around to pulling it back out and putting a color DMD in. So that's all for now from the arcade.
Welcome aboard.
Fire corrective.
Alien civilization.
I know what it says! We're in your disguise!
Captain, you need to adjust your target destination to 183 by 473 degrees.
Whoa, Jim, you're way off course.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Her 5-year mission? To explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.